Hi, I'm Dr. Gemma, and welcome back to Cognitive, the Knitting Psychology podcast. Cheerfully and somewhat irregularly in business since 2008. Segments today may include what's on my hooks, needles, and spindles, a strategy, something I really like, put a lid on it, oh shoot, and blather. So sit back, put your feet up, pick up your knitting, crocheting, spinning, weaving, or dyeing, or any other yarny thing you're doing, and get ready to enjoy. Hi, it's Dr. Gemma, and this is episode 81 of Cognitive, and you're probably hearing a lot of roaring in the background because I am going up the Owens Valley here on my second official day off of this vacation. I am past Independence, and I believe I just passed Aberdeen on the left. Yes, I'm coming up to Taboose Creek Campground, and I am in the giant, gorgeous, sun-drenched, beautiful emptiness that is the Owens Valley of the Eastern Sierra. And of course, it's not empty, but if you're not used to this kind of landscape, it feels empty. Big open sky above, bright blue, little wispy white clouds collecting a little bit over the Inyo Range on my right. Starting to see landmarks now on maps, starting to try to remember what to call things. I am not far, as I record this, out of Big Pine and then Bishop, and then another hour takes me to Mammoth. This is the first time I've driven this route during broad daylight with the wide open light and skies. And the colors are more washed out than I've seen them previously when I came up at like 7 in the morning going to Yosemite in September, well actually August of 2019. And then, I'm not sure, I think I saw this earlier in the day when I first went up to Mammoth. I think I must have hit Bishop, and not that much earlier. I probably hit Bishop like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. As I record this, it's 2:51 p.m. here on Memorial Day of 2022, Monday, May 30th, I believe. Anyway, I'm not able to get anything up here. My Wi-Fi has croaked. Not getting anything. My phone, nothing. No reception. I don't know why. My phone used to get reception up here. Who knows? Who cares? I'm up in the great, vast beyond on my vacation. Yay! Welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back. And I hope you can hear me. And I have a feeling this one's going to get broken up into a lot of tiny segments as I experience the rest of this drive. What to tell you? Well, let's see. I think the warm thanks, I got nothing. I'm not looking at the website. This could be a very sketchy, short episode. Actually, the warm thanks would go to my husband and son because I have been just emotionally feeling like I'm on my hands and knees the last week. It was just a long, hard week. And that's the blather. It's also not that relevant. Sorry, I just got distracted by my rear view mirror, which is insanely beautiful at this angle right now. It's pointed at the eastern face of the Sierra Nevada. It's hard. I remember the last time I drove here trying to record, and all you want to do is go, oh my gosh, look at this, look at that, you know. And you really have a hard time staying focused on the recording. That, my friends, is why any podcaster worth her salt edits a lot. So I'm going around a big curve in the middle of nowhere. You go, why is there a big curve here? Who knows? There just is. And it's very beautiful. I'm following the Frito-Lay truck. What's a Frito-Lay truck doing here? Who knows? I thought they just kind of helicoptered in the junk food for these little towns. Ooh, I see beautiful trees. I'm I wonder if I'm coming up to Big Pine already. The amazing thing about this ride today is it's just been this kind of drifting where I had the boys go up to the gas station in Acton and we all gassed up, so everybody has enough gas. And then we drifted up to Lancaster where we had lunch at Blaze Pizza together. I have to say, Blaze has sure gone downhill. Now that they're established, they just insanely skimp on everything. If it weren't for the keto crust, there's no way I'd even bother eating there. It's really, really gone downhill in all the branches. But nonetheless, it was a place to go with the family. We were the only ones in there. No big surprise, really. And we had a lovely breakfast together. What am I talking about? I don't know. I'm so off topic. I was supposed to be doing warm thanks. Oh yeah, warm thanks to my boys. Because that was a nice way to say goodbye. Gassed up the cars, had a nice lunch, and then drifted apart. And of course, Lancaster is a good 40 minutes into my 4-hour drive. So it's a nice way to start. From there, you go up through the Mojave Desert, which is truly just something you have to see. Kind of like the Eastern Sierra, you just have to see it to believe it. It's a giant, vast emptiness. Now, it's more desert. What I'm in now is more of a high plains desert. So there's like creosote bushes and some grass, whereas the Mojave is the real thing. There's not sand dunes, but it's empty and it's desert and there isn't a lot growing there. It's a kind of wonderful experience though. You feel like you're in this weird southern climate of Iceland. When I went to Iceland, I remember getting out of the plane at the Reykjavik airport, which is nowhere near Reykjavik. It's like 30 miles away. And looking around and thinking, beyond here be dragons, because all you saw were these big boulders and dead flat land, and clear as a bell you could see the city of Reykjavik miles and miles away from you. That's kind of what the Mojave is like. You just see forever. The difference, not much there if you're a suburban kid like me, but it has its own beauty. That's all you can really say. I'm moving the microphone around. I hope I'm not ruining its reception. So you pass through the Mojave, and about an hour out of Lancaster, you hit Red Rocks, which are glorious in the morning light. As the day progresses, they're not as exciting because when you get light coming from the east, from sunrise, it's very pink and it filters through the mountains and reflects. Red Rocks, as you go northbound, is pretty magnificent. As you go southbound, for some reason, it's not. You don't see the angles right. But when you go northbound and you see it with that filtering morning light, it is so insanely beautiful. It was great to see it just in straight up, sort of washed out midday daylight. Anyway, that's about an hour north of Lancaster, and I'm not driving real fast. I have to say, I think the speed limit's 65, which means everybody's doing 90. And I'm not. I haven't been driving real fast in a long time, probably since the last time I came up here in October. We also had very high winds, which was exciting. Nothing like going 80 miles an hour in a 50 mile an hour wind. I'm just going to say in a Prius. But it was gorgeous. And then about 90 minutes out of Lancaster, you hit Coso, the rest stop of tragedy, which I've talked about in previous episodes. But Coso is a fine rest stop these days. It's not picturesque. You get out and there's a lot of things blocking what would be some really scenic stuff. But anyway, I got out at Coso and messaged the boys that I was at Coso. And then I just pushed on, took a restroom break. And right now, let's see, after Coso, you hit Lone Pine. I didn't do the timer. I would imagine like half an hour later, you're in Lone Pine, then Independence, and then I should be coming up somewhere on Big Pine, and then above that Bishop, and above and to the left, Mammoth, and also past that, Yosemite. So that's kind of where I am. And the boys were great about it. And it was really sweet just to have lunch with them. And everybody got a little bit melancholy. And I kept thinking, do I really want to do this? Which is always a signal that I do. I'm one of these people, I think, oh, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. Then I'm so glad I did. And that's kind of the moment I'm having right now. Boy, the Frito-Lay truck is really swerving around up here. The wind must be a little more ferocious than I realized. And I could pass him, but I'm at 68. I'm just sort of starting to catch up with him a little bit. He's not going much slower than I am. And I'm enjoying it, I say. I'm enjoying it. Wild speed traps up here. You get into these little towns and the speed drops to 25. It's really quite something. However, I'm not seeing any cops around because it's Memorial Day, so I'm sure they're riding up and down this road, which is El Camino Sierra, the Sierra Highway, and that's probably a 300-year-old name for it. Oh, we're coming into Big Pine, yay! There's the Big Pine Dump Road, yay! And it's a 395 in highway speed, and I'm coming to Big Pine, and that's probably going to be... Yep, we're dropping to 55. Here we go. At least they give you a chance to slow down here. And there's some pretty groovy stuff here along the sides of the roads. Attempts to get tourists to stop and donate to the local economy. What is that thing? Oh, it's a big beehive-shaped thing that actually has the Mammoth logo all over it. Sure, guys, whatever. I'm sure that was something else when it was originally made. Oh, here we go. 35. Big Pine. Yay, I made it. I made it. And now I'm going to slow way, way, way down. Oh, they've decorated to look like a winter hat. I bet that wasn't originally a winter hat. I'm just saying. So here we are in the 35-mile zone. The world-famous Copper Top Barbecue, by the way, has moved 1,000 feet, in case you needed to know that. There's also a Mammoth Pet Shop. There are cannabis shops all over the place here. That's such a shame. You come to a beautiful place like this and you just get high. What are you, blind? I mean, why on earth would you need THC for this experience? It's breathtaking. I mean, seriously, guys, what are you thinking? City people come up here and probably get stoned. I don't know. Okay, I should probably talk about what's on my hooks and needles. Well, let's see. I am almost finished the first sleeve of the Fishy brick. It's just beautiful. It's everything I want it to be. It is also in my bag with me right now because I finished the Mad Skills Mammoth my first night in Mammoth. I don't think this will finish in my first night, but I just realized apparently I'm developing a tradition of finishing a sweater that I can actually wear in Mammoth. Why do I say that? It's going to be lovely here. It's going below freezing at night when I get to Mammoth, and it should be in the high 50s to mid 60s. Of course, those are famous last words. I said that last October and then a blizzard moved in. Hopefully not so much now. Hopefully not so much now. There is always that possibility though, which is one of the lovely surprising things. Why, there is the world famous Copper Top Barbecue. It's crowded too. Must be more famous than I realized. Hey, it's Memorial Day. You got to barbecue somewhere, you know? So here we go. And I'm coming up to the 168, which takes you to the ancient bristlecone pine forest. I think it was Nitty Barb who went there last year, or maybe 2 years ago now. 3 years ago? Anyway, very exciting. I may go see it. I'm just taking my time, taking my time. I am 14 miles out of Bishop. Is that it? That was Big Pine. Wow, Big Pine is small. I always am surprised by how small Big Pine is. So there you go. Surprised once again. Big Pine's very pretty. There's a lot of moisture here, a lot of trees, which is what you look for out here because believe me, it's a dry region. Anyway, so I'm hoping I will finish that sweater on this trip. I did bring along Twin Faces sweater. Sure. I'm just going to do some research on the schematic for a men's large, the arm length from, not Eddie Bauer, LL Bean. So we'll see if I get that done. Of course, I brought along the Faithful Crochet Project, my I don't know project, the blocks, which I pretty much do know now, but we'll see. Finally, after almost 6 months of crocheting those blocks, finally, I'm starting to see a reduction in the amount of yarn left over from my temperature blanket. I can finally look at the box and say, oh, goody, it looks like I've actually used some of that yarn. I'm very happy, and I think it's July 19th is 200 blocks. So we're getting up there. I forget the measurement, but I should be at about 150, I think, at this point. So that's fun. They're all over the place in my study. I'm running out of places to put them. So with that in mind, I also did bring the Pennsylvania Dutch Embroidery Project, and I brought one more, the heart scarf, the Noro heart scarf, because I thought, you know, I really want to do something that requires a little more focus than just popcorn knitting. I was going to bring needles and stop in the yarn store in Bishop and buy yarn and make a souvenir hat. And then I had a brainwave. I was looking through all my bag projects. I keep them all under my desk that have the leftovers from previous projects. And there was the bag that had the leftovers from the Mad Skills Mammoth sweater. And meanwhile, in my big bag, where I've got the 2 brick sweaters I'm working on, I now have needles from like size 7, 8, you know, through 9, all different lengths, because I'm working on these sweaters. And I just looked at those leftover skeins, or bits of hand-woven skeins. I just looked at that bag full of leftover hand-spun skeins from the Mad Skills Mammoth and said, look, if you want to do a hat, take those up to Mammoth and do a hat out of them to celebrate the Mad Skills Mammoth return to Mammoth, you know. So I did that instead of buying new yarn. Why? Because I'm not sure I'm going to find the yarn shop in Bishop open on this trip. That I will pass through Bishop today, Monday, and again probably on Friday. And I don't know if I'm going to actually want to stop, because there's a lot of things I want to drive up to on my way home on Friday. We'll see if I actually do that. So I realized, you know, also I'm feeling very overwhelmed by my stash. That I'm stunned at all the yarn I have. And so I really just want to work on that, on stash reduction. I really think I'll feel a lot happier. And I've got a lot of scrappy yarn. Speaking of which, so here I am with the 2 brick sweaters and the potential Mad Skills Mammoth hat and the Pennsylvania German embroidery. How much do you think I'm going to do in 3 days? Well, 4 days. Okay, well, who knows? But that didn't stop me from saying, you know, if I take one skein of my Lisa Souza, I believe it's a superwash worsted BFL. I'm not sure, but it's in the color Foxglove. It's a pink worsted, okay? It's beautiful. And I thought, you know, I'm going to have the ends of the sweater yarn for the Fishy Brick in the Wales Road Malabrigo Rios. And I thought I could start this beautiful sweater with a pattern at the neckline, a Fair Isle pattern, and I'll get into that if I actually do it. So I brought one skein of that pink because I already have the blue with me, the Wales Road. So just when you say, well, surely that's enough, remember I also have the Noro heart scarf. So we'll see. I just wanted to give myself a lot of free room to do whatever I want. Do I expect to do all of these? Nope. Do I expect to do most of these? Nope. Do I have any goals whatsoever? Yep. I want to finish the Fishy Brick in the Wales Road so that I can wear it because of the weather up here. I did bring the Mad Skills Mammoth sweater. It seemed only fair. Also, I haven't been wearing a heavy sweater now in like about 10 days. I mean, I wore the Feral Easter egg about a week ago. But even so, it was just for an evening to go out to dinner, and it was very nice. So I opened up my big Tupperwares with my sweaters, my heavy sweaters. I have to tell you, I nearly fell over on my butt. My sweater collection is gorgeous. I don't mean it's pretty, it's gorgeous. First thing I saw was the Feral Easter egg, and that is a heart stopper in real life. It's a shame because the photos just can't live up to those colors and the striping and the way it works together. And there was the Romule, which again, the whole time I was knitting the Romule, I kept thinking about tearing it out because I didn't think it was pretty. It's sensational. And then there's these bricks, man. That the brick in Rios Archangel, which is another story. Thank you, Jasmine. I'm considering steeking it, but that's for another time. But it's beautiful, even with the kind of bad row changes down the front. It's sensational. I'm sort of stunned at my own skills, and I know, well, one of my goals here, I've begun to gradually realize, is I just wanted to build up a wardrobe, as I think I said in the previous episode, of really beautiful, highly wearable sweaters. Sweaters that are going to go with almost everything I wear, that I don't wear just once when I wear this other perfect top. I don't want to do that, I want sweaters that I grab out and put on every day and still feel like, wow, that's so pretty. And there was, what's it called now? I saw the Agneses. They were beautiful, even without their pockets. And the Francis, is it revisited? Oh my God, that's so beautiful. So yeah, I'm looking at my sweater collection going, wow, I have really achieved beyond my wildest dreams. And they're all very different from each other. They're all achieving different things, mixing hand-spun and machine-made, using up scraps, using up hand-spun, spinning to make a sweater, which is the Mad Skills Mammoth. I just can't get over this. I'm so happy. Using slightly unusual yarns instead of solids, so the Rios bricks. I am just so happy. And all I would tell you is, my friend Carla is always making these breathtaking sweaters. She never does the same sweater twice. And of course, all you got to do is look at the Knitmore sweaters. They just go from pattern to pattern, and they're all so beautiful. I am just so happy to be on one pattern, exploring all the ways. And Jasmine had mentioned something about steeking. I was talking about Jared Flood's first cardigan pattern, and Jasmine was apparently listening to it a few days later and started sending me these hilarious texts about cut it, steek it. Now the problem is, if I do that, the ribbing, particularly the neckline ribbing, I have to look up, like, what do you do about that if you decide to steek an already made sweater? What happens to the ribbing? I will tell you right now, one reason that particular sweater would be so steekable. Now this is a brick in Malabrigo Rios Archangel, just so you know. It would be highly steekable for the simple reason I can always order more Archangel. So if I have to rip out all the ribbing, I can do that. I don't want to rip out the lower ribbing. That would take some serious mad skills, because you start on that sweater. Actually, I could. No, because the last thing you do on the body is that ribbing. So I could rip back and then just go from there. Oh my God, no, what am I saying? I can't believe I'm thinking like this. Stop laughing, Jasmine. She's rubbing her hands together and go hee hee hee. But Jasmine is probably shrieking with laughter. Anyway, I've always toyed with the idea of learning to steek, and this would be a really good sweater to do it on, because the supply of yarn for repairs and for redo would be so endless, because it's a commercial yarn, and a beautiful commercial yarn. So I keep thinking, yeah, I could just take that ribbing out and reapply it after the body is steeked, and do that with the neckline as well. And if it feels like it's a little narrow, which I doubt it would be, it's a very wide sweater for me. It's not hugely wide. I mean, it looks like it fits, but it fits very loosely. I made it very baggy intentionally because I was not bothering to taper it in those days. So, it would be a very steekable sweater. It fits me pretty well. It's somewhat wide in the body. And so, I could do some nice changes with the button band there, and that would cover a lot of problems, So this might be a very, very doable thing. Passing bicyclists, and the minivan next to me feels the need to buzz them. Hello, we call that jerky. Okay, just saying. It's a bicyclist group. They've got a truck following them with a warning sign that says cyclists ahead. You'd think you'd want to give them that kind of room, but not all of us do. Anyway, I gripe, and I enjoy it. Okay, so I am looking at, if I decide to up my game, I may someday steek that sweater. It's certainly a real possibility, but I don't think that's going to happen for a while, because I have so many other things I want to do with all my insanely wonderful stash of beautiful yarns. I opened one of the bins sitting in my study thinking that was where my leftover spinning stuff was. No, I had moved that into the big bedroom. It was where I stored all my really old sock stash to bring it out into daylight. Holy snot, was that beautiful. Okay, enough of this madness. I think that's everything on my hooks and needles. It's really not. I've got some other crochet projects that are sort of started, but those are stories for another day. Oh, it's so beautiful. The Sierra Nevada, the eastern faces are on my left. There's very little snow on them. They must have had a lot of melt, because last week Mammoth was saying you could still ski in the higher elevations. Looking at it now, I doubt it. But I'm not sure how high Mammoth Mountain is. I know the resort I'm going to, Juniper Springs, is at 8,000 feet. Wubba, wubba! And it will be cooler. Right now I'm coming into Bishop, and it's 77 degrees Fahrenheit. Brits, do that mental conversion. What is that, like 15 degrees centigrade or something? No, it's got to be warmer than that. Anyway, you get the picture. And the speed trap. I'm probably going to have to stop for a restroom because I'm like another hour out from Mammoth. It is 3:15. I am beautifully on schedule. Beautifully on schedule. This is really nice. I can't check until 4 o'clock. I have packed everything for this trip except the kitchen sink. As you can probably tell from what I just said about what's on my hooks and needles and what I have with me. What else? What else? I think I will stop us for now and come back. So we have come to the end of another episode of Cognitive. Please do not use this podcast to diagnose yourself. If you think you are having a mental health problem, please contact a licensed mental health professional. Show notes for these episodes can be found at cognitivepodcast, all one word, .blogspot.com. Episodes can be found at iTunes under the name Cognitive Podcast, but also can be found posted next to the show notes on the Blogspot page. Thank you so much for listening. Everybody, stay safe, take care of each other, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.